Well, I think was FlyQuest. It's been the same always. It's not really up on AD carry. It's more so like what we have to watch out is High's shot calling, because he has a lot of like good shot call. And usually when we play them, we usually don't like to play versus them because they have like, even though it's a bad call, they are like so decisive that they'll make it work sometime. So that's the stuff that we have to watch out.
And make it work they did. FlyQuest with a great comeback victory in Game 2. We'll see if the back half of Game 2 continues into Game 3 where they play well continually. We'll see what happens. Of course, Game 3 coming up soon. FlyQuest back on the blue side, taking on Counter Logic Gaming. CLG was coming into this one like kind of the chosen ones. They were playing so well. They were a first-place team. It seemed like everything was working. Dardoch was playing pretty well. Darshan's been great so far this split. Stixxay is an amazing bot laner. He's having his best split ever. It's like, all right, CLG. And then the playoffs happen again, and they just crash and burn with a 10,000 gold lead against FlyQuest.
Exactly, and even after that game, I mean, all the things you said are still true. They just didn't actually win the game. They were winning for so much of it, but they did let FlyQuest back into the game. There are two sides to every story, though. FlyQuest did a lot to get back at it, and I wonder if that weighs on the minds of CLG, where I've heard so many people, Aphromoo, Huhi, Darshan, talk about, the biggest thing about FlyQuest is just, it's really hard to beat them because of High, and then they go up 2-0 in the playoffs, and then High beats them 3 times in a row, and they go up Game 1, they beat them most of Game 2, and then once again, they can't find the win, so they have to get past that because they have been the better early game team, they have been the better mid-game team. They just have to close out this third game.
We'll see if that one happens or if WildTurtle continues to play very well like he had at the end of the last game and put on his carry pants for that one. Gragas, the first pick. FlyQuest going to take it away and remove that option away from Dardoch and Darshan. A little bit of a new texture here into this one. Constantly taunts me with that Riven Hover. Maybe he's just, a fan of order over chaos and, shout out to the icons. I also chose the Riven side. But it's going to be Caitlyn and a Lee Sin in for Dardoch. Self-proclaimed cleanest Lee Sin NA. Here we go.
Yeah, non-import. It's not that arrogant.
Yeah.
Although I have no idea.
Maybe he
that is true or not. Zyra 3 games in a row for FlyQuest, getting the Ashe into the Caitlyn as well. So a lot of picks basically just trading hands from last game if you consider the Gragas, which had a huge imprint on the early game for Dardoch, and now the Caitlyn is on CLG's side after the huge imprint it had for WildTurtle.
Absolutely the case here, and of course 3 Zyra games in a row for elimination. We'll see, is it going to be more karma out of CLG, or we get a Bard or a Thresh or something interesting, or even the Blitzcrank as time winds down, and it's Blitz Caitlyn. This is certainly a volatile lane, and it'll be fun one to watch for.
Yeah, you can still trap after the hook to secure even more kill pressure after a Blitzcrank hook. I think they want that against the Ashe and the Zyra, right? Neither of those guys have natural escapes from the hook outside of the flash, so to speak, whereas a Caitlyn could just kind of net to the side or something like that. Right. So CLG with the confidence. Aphromu's most played champion now in the summer. Blitzcrank.
Going to be fun to watch for as the final bans come through. More Syndra bans at a FlyQuest because they seem to like Orianna so darn much, and even in a game where they had no real supports, the command protect certainly helped a lot in keeping WildTurtle alive, and it was pretty useful. Finally able to help WildTurtle carry that one. So finally the Orianna ban does come through for Counter Logic Gaming, and High will not get his most played.
Yeah, it's about time, I think.
Yeah.
He had a good Orianna game, and even in the game they lost, he was landing a lot of really clutch shockwaves to prolong the game to 35 minutes where it really had no business going that long.
Totally agree, and we'll see how much more is going to happen. Renekton going to be removed off the table in case CLG wanted to pick that as their counter. Of course, Moon hasn't shown his champion yet, so Gragas remains a flex pick on the FlyQuest side. And it's going to be a blind-ish rumble for Darshan on the top side.
Yeah, with the Renekton banned away, the things that they think would be best into it would be gone, and Ivern pokes his head out.
All right, Gragas top with an Ivern jungle, and Lucian going to come through as the mid lane pickup for High. Magic damage somewhat limited, but there's still a Zyra and there's still a Gragas to put in some. Double marksman with Ivern and Gragas going to be the comp right here. And now CLG have to say, okay, what do we play into Lucian? We've seen Victor work pretty well. Orianna's off the table already. Cassidy would be bad. Victor may indeed be the pickup.
I like those last 2 picks from FlyQuest. I feel like Ivern works great with Lucian. I feel like a lot of the mid lane target bans that would potentially beat up on Lucian the most are gone. Victor is a late game answer to double marksman, but I still feel like it gets pushed in for most of the early game, and FlyQuest has a chance to take a fair bit of pressure, not to mention they still have the magic damage from the Zyra and the big tank from the top lane Gragas. So oftentimes I'm really complimenting Zix on his drafting, and they can still make the plays to win this game, but FlyQuest, I really like their team composition that ThinkCard and Lemon Nation put together.
I agree, it lines up pretty nicely. CLG a bit low on tanks. Lee Sin can try, Rumble's not really going to be that, and Blitzcrank doesn't get the gold really, so we'll see what happens. We'll see if those marksmen just crush through everything, or what's going to happen in this one. Time ticks down, there's going to be no swaps left. Everyone's on their intended champions here in this one. And it's on to game 3. FlyQuest, can they do the small best-of-3 version of a reverse sweep here against CLG, just like they did in the spring playoffs, or can Counterlogic Gaming keep that road toward first place alive? Darshan on a Rumble, more damage-focused tops for him. His first Rumble of the split, actually. Not a surprise he can play the champion, of course. Here we go, the final handshake between these two coaches. We get ourselves in a game.
Yeah, one final look at the team compositions. Remember, we are on patch 7.11. We should be moving to 7.12 next week, but the Ivern is still nerfed on this patch from what he was from the start of the season. Basically, it costs him more health and mana early on in the jungle to clear the camps, which slows down the huge experience leads he was getting on a lot of the other junglers considerably. So he is more just a utility pick rather than the guy that takes all your jungle, makes you useless, and is also a utility.
Yeah, he's not Nunu and everything else in the game. He's just Ivern now at this point. Here we go into game 3 as it begins amidst the cheer of the fans and the calls of the casters and the mouse clicks of the League of Legends players and the beautiful skins of the champions and the sound effects of turrets powering up. You know they actually play when you walk by them? If you walk by a turret, it makes like the sh sound.
I mean,
if you want, you can pass it around it, but it never plays.
it actually makes the sound all the time. It's just only when you walk past it do you hear it.
No, because you can like mouse over it.
I was making a tree falls in the forest joke. Freak.
Ah, I missed it entirely. I didn't get that.
But I guess the mini-map isn't really that when you're completely disconnected from the view of your characters.
My bad. Ooh, ward killed Aframu.
Yeah?
To be fair, actually, no, I'm wrong about this. Oh, the hook! Nope, it's fine. All right, we're good. Huge chunk out of high. Deathfire touch out of Huhi, no surprise there. And Doran's Shield gonna regen him back up. I'm sorry I missed your joke, chat. I apologize for the lack of synergy.
The thing is, if you're missing a joke, it's probably terrible. Like,
I mean,
you will catch on to the slightest hint of accidental jokes, so it's probably just, I probably just did it wrong.
nah, chat, I believe in you. You can do no wrong. And Ball's a little toasty. Darshan gonna push him away. And it's Doran's ring actually on the Gragas. He actually thought he'd have maybe some push leads, but
Yeah.
gonna be lower on the regen here for this one.
Gonna be really hard, I feel like, for Gragas to actually push the Doran Shield Rumble out of the lane. I
Yeah.
feel like Doran Shield on this patch and on this Rumble is gonna make for a pretty strong early game Rumble.
I agree. We'll see what happens. I actually want to see if also Balls goes for a adaptive helm as an early item, because Visage has even more synergy on Gragas because it amplifies healing. It's almost impossible for adaptive helm to actually provide you with better durability than a Visage, even when you're facing a Rumble. So we'll see what happens. Darshan's still trading, and yeah, Balls again relying on his passive right now for regen makes it a bit difficult. As Darshan gets the first 2 CS of the wave.
Going for an early level 2.
Let's see if he can get it. Ward hop forward, gets the auto attack on for the red buff, so High's gonna kite back and forth for that minion. Secret Service melee minion keeps High alive.
I mean, High did the right thing. He knows he has no dash. He's skilled Q at level 1, so he just goes as close to all his minions as possible and hopes that the hitboxes play to his favor, and they do. Dark doesn't lose too much, though, with that level 2 gank, because he's against Ivern, and unless Ivern has done his invade at the start of the game, he's actually not a good reactive counter jungler. Ivern is more of a counter jungler that you need to predictively counter jungle. So actually really good to do a bunch of early ganks against Ivern because he can't really change his path. He has to plan all of his stuff 45 seconds in the future.
Yeah.
So I like the call there by Dardoch to go for the early ganks.
Nice attempt, doesn't lose too much for it. We'll see as he gets back through his jungle, but of course Moon has plenty of camps waiting for him now on his side of the map. Presently 100 gold lead for CLG, but again, there's about 200 waiting for Moon as he right-clicks various camps. Goes up to 11 CS to the 4 of his opponent. And with this, might take this much off the map. Yep, and there's level 4, and
Yeah, had 3 minutes and 10 seconds. So
pretty fast.
The fastest, actually. I don't think any jungler can do it faster than that. It does come with an early recall, and you have to completely pre-plan the route. So obviously Dardoch got the attempt of the gank in there, but it didn't pay off. And now Darshan
Just finds himself a root, walks into Moon. Here comes the shield, not going to be enough. Still burns down one final auto attack from High. And here's Flag with a good early game for themselves. After going to look for the hook, not going to find much to do. High walks out. Nicely played by FlyQuest, catching Darshan out.
Yeah, and Darshan was just shoving in balls so effortlessly in the top lane there. that he tried to make a roam, but he walks himself into a full health, level 4 double buff Ivern, and then High's faster on the roam than Huhi. Watching this one more time, Darshan was trying for, you know, a gank onto High, really trying to set him back in that lane, but the opposite happens and High gets first blood.
I'm actually not surprised where the damage even came through, because I saw his health bar have a shield on it still, but I guess an auto attack had landed right as that one came in, and the safeguard couldn't block it all down. The fan vote, about twice as close as it was before. It was like 8%, now it's 27. Somewhere my math is wrong, because those numbers don't line up, but either way, it's another engaged attempt on a Huhi. He was low enough on mana that High is totally fine, and the shield blocks the minion shots. Looks like Moon's gonna help him shove the wave out, and High's gonna get himself a quick recall for probably a Vamp Scepter.
Yeah, got 1 kill already, 1,300 gold. He can get the Vamp Scepter and then some. Maybe, what's the gold on the Bilgewater? He could get
like
that.
250 combined. I think it's 1,400 total. Here's a hook, though, onto Wild Turtle. Plenty of damage there. And look at the Pelquar running down. Aframu's going to be careful. Ignite is on. The plant's hurting as well. And Aframu should slink away alive, but under 100 health.
Looks like High's sticking around for 1 extra wave as well, so I think he'll be getting the Bilgewater Cutlass on that first back, which will really help him around level 5 and 6 since he's going to hit 6 first. And Huhi's not going to be able to keep the waves cleared the way he wants. So High with the early lead in that lane and can extend it for a little while.
Yeah, this is going to be a fun one to look at. 2 farm lead right now for him. And ooh, there's a Blitzcrank over a hook. He's going to find him. Elimination hooked in the brush. And Dardoch was there to help make sure it all happened, though I don't know if he had a way out regardless, but a nice one, turning the bot lane around.
Yeah, and that's where CLG is going to need to get their edge, because super late game Caitlyn will actually probably feel like it's 2v1ing the other 2 marksmen just because it outranges both the Ashe and Volution later in the game, kind of as we saw Wild Turtle last game being able to one-shot the Aries and Stixxay's Ashe. But Lemon just recalling.
Oh, that's so nice.
Flash hook.
And Lemon saw it. He didn't think it was going to land on him. He walked as soon as he saw the flash, and he's like, I don't need to flash this. I should be. And he's just slightly wrong about it.
Yeah.
Well, bad read by Elimination, but a great play out of Aftermoon. Of course, the Lee Sin was there all the same. We look back at this top lane, and yeah, Darshan has himself a small farm lead, but there is a Moon slinking in, I believe, unspotted in that brush right now.
Not the most fatal of ganks.
Drag it 6,
Here,
though.
level 6, it can.
That body slam missed. Maybe he was looking for body slam flash in explosive cast, but because you're not going to gank as a level 5 Rumble onto this. There's no kill to be had on Darshan's side, so I feel like Moon had to be looking for a gank himself. And didn't find it regardless. Huhi back in the mid lane. Down 8 farm, but pulled equally enough. Has not gotten his augment, though, is the important thing. High was able to force an early enough recall.
Yeah. Hit him!
Ooh. All right, stops it, but that's a root, and he's, of course, taking minion aggro still. Moon, I think, can't take minion aggro. And he's going to skip this stop one more time, but here comes Victor, but at the same time, here comes Balls. And then here's Aframu, so the entire team is there, forcing a flash out. Nice hook onto this one. Cullen comes in, plenty of damage on a Huhi, and there's the explosive cast, pulls in Afro. That'll be a kill, the flash with Blitzcrank is down, but here comes Darshan, does have the equalizer. As he cools down, 3, 2, 1, has an ultimate. Not gonna do anything with it, just gonna shoot up Daisy, but gets hit in the front. Knocked up, more chase elimination, gonna find the root equalizer, not gonna do too much for him. Dardoch gonna get body slammed, and look at this. FlyQuest smashed the fight 3-1.
And these are the types of games that you pick mid lane Lucian for. When you can get those kills early, you can absolutely take over the map. 4 kills onto High after all of that happened.
Oh man, he is a big boy. Flapping his wings, you saw it there in the player cam. He is happy, he knows it's time to go. Even gets a red buff. Oh, he's got everything he needs.
I mean, when High's grooving, you can tell he's gonna be more talkative. You can tell his body language, sitting in his seat. In this fight, was very well played by FlyQuest, but also I think very poorly played by CLG. Dardoch loses the trades with Moon when Aframu jumps in, and then they take every single shot of the culling by someone. Then when Darshan runs in, where's the equalizer? Use it right away.
Yeah.
Because then maybe they kill Balls in the gravity field stun, but then they don't. Now they got Daisy to worry about. Dardoch doesn't have a smite to get rid of it, so it's knocking people up the whole fight. They use the equalizer, but that doesn't do anything really, because the Ivern shield is going to block out any type of damage over time that's going to throw out. And Guy's nearly got an 8-minute Blade of Ruin King. Just needs basically
He's a big boy.
a couple hundred more gold, and he's got
He needs 700 total for the Hurricane, and then it's like a 800 gold combined, I think, to finish, or not the Hurricane, sorry, the recurve bow, and then yeah, 800 for the rest of it. So it's pretty close for him on this one, and difficult road ahead for CLG, and poor Huhi doesn't have any deaths. He's farming okay, but suddenly he's got a 4-kill opponent in his lane, and he's just like, guys, I wanted to play a laning phase with his tier 1 augment.
too bad. Goes for cooldown, but it still didn't have the 1250 gold required for that tier 1 augment, and the struggle continues.
Prototype Hex Core still. Mark 1 not to be had.
He had double buffs on 2 people. That is the Ivern life.
Oh, he's going for the play, though. Kicks him into the wall, and the plant's going to block the hook. Dark Doc gets out. Arrow's going to land, and all right, finally something done. A little bit of damage dealt back and forth. The turret, they're running out of health. An explosive cast buys some time. Ball's not quite in turret range. Darshan does have Equalizer. Gonna find some damage, gonna find a stun as well, and here comes the damage output. Ball's not long for the world. The shots come through the shield, not gonna be enough. One shot, actually gonna keep him alive, just barely heals back up. No Magic Mantle, putting the hard work in, staying alive.
Oh my goodness, that's actually the tilter in these games. You use both your mid laners' ultimates on a guy who's used all his move blocks to get away from you, has about 300 health left, and a silly little Ivern shields him. He drinks whatever it is in that cast and heals instantly with all of his triple thorns as well. So,
oh man,
I can't believe he got away from that, and that just hurts because CLG invested everything into trying to get that kill.
Oh geez, so this is rough stuff. Counter Electric Gaming, you know, can make the good mid-game shot calls happen. You've got a 7 farm lead for 6A, the one lane that's at this point actually doing well anymore. While Theodore is kind of holding equal. BF sword plus the Doran shield regardless on both these sides. Wait to see what's up next for FlyQuest. It's been interesting to watch because the fights have been half FlyQuest being aggressive and then half them reacting to CLG like this. Afro has to flash away from Daisy. He's afraid of the cupcake.
Yeah, with good reason. It's going to knock him up.
Yep.
Mess him up. Especially with Lucian coming in with 4 kills after that. I think Moon's doing the right thing here, basically just camping in the mid lane. It needs to be punished more by the bottom lane, I feel like, of FlyQuest, but Lemonation is almost slowly responding to some of these roams. They're trying really hard to get this mid lane turret down. It will be important if they can get it.
Oh, look at the damage in the Afro, but he hooks in. Hooks in high, gets a bit of damage there. Out they go. It's going to be a nice stun, but who are you going to cleanse away from that one? Dardock once again filling into the mid lane. They're going to buy a bit more time with the wave clear, but that turret got about 300 health. It's one more wave away from dying. And 6A just sitting here in the bot lane, wave clearing against the Ashe, the Zyra. Elimination going back and forth to the mid lane. It's just a farm fest down to that bottom lane 1v1. As the support's trying to tilt the mid lane back.
Yeah, and we know you need to get to 3 or 4 items on that Caitlyn before you're going to be having a large impact on the game. So everyone just getting drawn into this mid lane, which I think is exactly what FlyQuest wants. Blade of the Ruin King Lucian, which he's going to go buy on this first back, or not first back, this next back.
Yeah.
Is amazing in skirmishes. It's exactly what FlyQuest wants.
Here we go.
Oh, can he get the kill?
Ward's there. He took so much time. I think he was like wondering if High was going to jump, but when you put the ward down, you're like, guys, there's a Lee Sin. Get away.
Yeah, and Elimination was right next to him, which I think made him hesitant to go through.
Didn't go for the play on that one. High, though, does not have any defensive summoners at all to his name. Cleanses, or sorry, flashes down and ignites with a pick. A little bit of a brush for Moon to keep the team safe. They're going to find him, though. There's the knockup, and the burst damage is there. Afro stays alive. The flash to follow the shutdown. Darshan finally gets himself the big play. 2 kills to the board. The kick flash there as well. Can they kill off Moon? They're trying. There's the punch, but it's going to be the trade kill as Afro will lose his life. But you got to say worth it and all tap for that one. 3 kills needed for CLG.
Absolutely undeterred by the negative results of the fights in the early game. CLG continues to go and make the big plays, and they're empowered by the fact that the Gragas is in the top lane, so they get the hook into the gravity field, which has him sitting on the equalizer, and he tells Darshan to flash, and then Dardock still goes, because in all of this, there's no channel teleport on that turret, and the teleport is up 4 balls, so he could have scared him off of this dive for the continuation, and yes, 1 kill gets traded back, but it's onto a Sightstone Ivern, which doesn't really matter. CLG push themselves a little bit back into the game.
And it's going to go to balls. Dardock did not want to queue. He wanted to be as greedy as possible and jump the wall. I guess to be fair, if he's going to get killed, he has an escape route with the Krugs. Maybe it's the less greedy play, to be honest. Either way, a great red buff take over to balls. Dardock, ooh, that's a hook into a turret. He's dead. He's gone. There's this brute. Sadly, Afro gets the kill. He kind of deserves it at a certain point, but you know you'd want that gold on Stixxay normally.
I feel like he already has more kill participation in this game than he did in the entire game 1 to the crushing. So Afro definitely back in rhythm on Blitzcrank. It's just a question of can they deal with this Lucian in the mid lane empowered by the Ivern.
Here we go, mid lane going to fall for this one. That's first turret gold, so a big surge going back FlyQuest way, over 1,000 gold worth for that. That puts the lead at 1,500. See, as we cross the most important time in the game, 13:37, you've got Stixay pushing under turret. Jat shakes his head.
Yeah.
I always try to look for it. Oh, headshot! Boom. Fitting. Nice juke right there, though. That is Ash arrow down, and nice aim by Moon to get it between the minions, but Stixay is desynced with that, can't get hit anyway.
Yeah, and CLG starting to take control again in this game a little bit. I mean, Darshan with Leandries will be able to hold the zone up in that top lane, but it's more about the presence he can make in other fights because he's 2 levels down after all the roaming he did as FlyQuest relentlessly pressured that mid lane turret. I mean, they eventually got it, but CLG got a lot of kills back in the process. So now that finally the hex score was upgraded by Huhi, he can start shoving that out, getting his farm up, building up towards the late game.
Yeah.
It still is anyone's game, even if that 4 kills onto Evolution at the very start had the potential of snowballing it really fast.
Absolutely. You can always kill a squishy champion like Illusion here. We've seen that happen before, and we might see it happen again, but right now, Balls with some free time in the top lane. He got some help. Moon's here as well, and this will be the second unanswered turret kill right now for FlyQuest. Balls having a very good game so far, making a lot happen. But meanwhile, CLG have run down to this Mountain Drake. Statistically, actually the weakest in pro play, for those who actually care about this one, but certainly Baron calls are something that is important. And Caitlyn and Victor are so good at doing damage to turrets, it kind of amplifies them.
Yeah, if they can get in position to hit the turrets, because that's the big reason why Mountain Drake oftentimes doesn't actually increase your win percentage, because in positions in which you would be able to utilize the Mountain Drake, you are already winning. So it's a win more, it's not a help you win, like a lot of the other Drakes can do.
Absolutely the case, and another headshot on a high, but he's fine just clearing the waves. They've rotated players around. The Lucian Ashe bottom lane, only seen so far in solo queue, brought now into the LCS, courtesy of FlyQuest for just a second or two. And it's going to be just the Ashe on the lane once again as High goes for the recall. Dardock, nice red buff steal. But in the meantime, on the other side of the map, Rift Herald was taken by FlyQuest. And Moon's Iron holding that right now means turret's going to be dying sometime soon in favor of the blue team.
Yeah,
CLG be counting their days.
Good for them if they could summon Daisy at the same time and double push with just things they brought from nothing. But either way, it's going to be a lot of extra tank for the turret.
You've got Zyra plants, and there's so many little adds to bring in. Let's see what comes out of this one. Tied in kills, gold still 1,000 apart. It is the FlyQuest lead, but it is small. Ocean Drake next up, more non-combat Drakes. See if that means anything. Leandry's now done for Darshan. And it will be some time. High is actually going for the start of a Black Cleaver, then still towards Rapid Fire Cannon or a Phantom Dancer. So it's going to be a very late Hex Drinker. High himself only has the 46 magic resist from his runes, basically, in the new base stats. So that magic vent's going to be pretty valuable here. Bodily Ender a lot of fire, while Turtle's still putting it down. It looks like no one's going to stop him, so all 3 outer turrets are gone. Rift Herald still in inventory. A tier 2 might be next up. 1,500 gold lead. Moon with the bot lane. High still pushes in mid.
Yeah, and this makes it very difficult for CLG to make the types of plays they would like to make. Add that to the Sightstone built.
He's going to land. Here comes Stranglethorns as well. A lot of damage. Six is going to flash to stay alive. 3 ults and 2 summoners down, though. Balls did not burn his own flash. It was just the ultimate's burn. Much shorter cooldowns here. Flag is doing the siege in the bot lane, and Moon does not yet summon Rift Herald. Doesn't think they need it. They can push this by just the champions themselves, although it does get slowed down. The kick, the flash, and he's only going to knock in the one, though. Equalizer across the team. The hook in onto Moon. He's a pretty low health Ivern, and it's not going to be enough. As 1 kill's picked up, but it's traded back there. Now into the back line, looks for Huhi. A lot of damage in a turtle. Not going to block much of the damage at all. And now it's on to Balls. More hits coming to him, but not quite hit by the Maelstrom.
Want to keep chasing, but they
hook is careful. Stops out the body slam. There's no stun to be had. High flashes forward to get the kill. Turtle taught him well, but the chase is back on for Huhi. Do they have the damage? One more shot will do it. Not going to get burned down. Deathfire touch not going to take him. The flash, the follow, can he get the kill? Huhi now has to face check through a brush. He's going to find Turtle for the damage. The Q's going to hit. He's got one more attack. The cleanse, he gets the kill picked up. Gives him his speed boost when you cleanse off a root, so he gets a little bit back for that. Or that might be Mikhail's. Might be wrong about that one. I take it back. Either way, High still in the chase. Dardock not going to land the Q, not going to go for the play, just going to heal back up.
And this is where Huhi just rage bans Ivern when he's practicing solo queue tonight, because it denied him so many kills in that last fight, and it looked like maybe they'd get something back. The equalizer by Darshan was beautiful in this fight, but it's just a rank 1 equalizer because he is a level 10 Rumble. So watch this combo right here, kicking to knock them up. They hook in the Ivern, and the equalizer cuts off the people that want to help. So yes, they get healed by the redemption, but they sit in the equalizer to do so. And then the chaser, you think of all the kills that it looked like who he was a second away from getting. Remember, he has flash this whole time, but wants to be able to find the right execute. This hook as well does take down Aframu, and they still don't get the kill for another, what are we gonna call it, 2,000 range, 3,000 range is who he has to flash over that final Q, but...
Oh no, he was channeling! Rift Herald's not gonna be summoned, they're gonna kill off Moon! Oh no, he ran out of time to have the option, and he summons it in vision range of a Blitzcrank. The kick to Q, but he gives the Nation a way out, maybe a bit greedy, but Equalizer makes up for the mistake. He's gonna go down a 2 for 0, baited by Rift Herald.
Rift Herald throw, if you've ever seen it right there. Just use it in the bottom lane when you use your Daisy, as we were talking about, but he holds onto it for the greed. Oftentimes, you're hoping to find that perfect Rift Herald. Right. Just use it. Get the charge on the turret. It's going to be worth it most of the time. And yes, as displayed there, it is a channel, so things can interrupt it, like a Blitzcrank hook. Also, Blitzcrank hooks can kill you. So Moon experiences both of those right there, and then Lemon dies as well while trying to defend.
Ooh, so Counterlogic Gaming for the first time now having a gold lead themselves, 700 to be specific. Oh, I found a Blitzcrank and 2 more enemies. Maybe not the best play. Damage on the 6, though not quite enough. Balls now. The explosive cast makes it worth, but he is in 1v3. Now Moon joins in. The numbers are a bit more tied up. A nice root onto the Blitzcrank after he's slowed down by Ash. Has no way out of this one. Hooked by a bit more time. Still picked out for the double kill.
Yeah, and that's
Dardoch now joins the fight. Elimination. Laser. Now, nice disengage with the Strangle Thorns. Could be a stun. Ash, arrow. Dardoch is okay. Gonna be several shots to go. He'll be fine. Fight, to be fair, won by FlyQuest.
Exactly. It's the type of play where you say, "Hi, what are you doing?" And he's like, "I'm starting the fight. I'm initiating.
Mastermind.
I know we have more people here." Kind of works. I feel like he could have delayed a little bit longer and saved his life, but they still win the fight because they got there faster.
Worked out in the end. The gold back in FlyQuest favored by 200.
Yeah, maybe not. Maybe I'm giving him too much credit right here. His team's really far away at the start of this.
But they all TP in. They join the 4v5. Balls gets the kill, and then he stays alive the rest of it, of course. He's the one true tank in this game. You don't do anything to him. Elimination's staying alive as well.
Yeah, and Hui kind of on the side of the fight. Victor, without a bunch of cooldown reduction or a Lich Bane, doesn't have a huge sustained damage footprint in team fights. He's actually pretty burst heavy in the early game. Becomes much more damaging later in the game with cooldown reduction.
Yep. And interestingly, a full Sightstone out of Moon into... That's interesting because Green Smite costs 650 and the Sightstone costs 800. And Moon decided to go for a full Sightstone. It has more ward charges on it, so it is a better vision item. Also, it gives you health, so for 150 gold, it's probably actually the right choice.
I'm back and forth on this as far as Ivern goes. Since you're playing a support anyway, you're more willing to go with that on any other than on Ivern than on any other jungler. But here's the fight.
It's going to be an arrow onto the front line, a knockback on a 1 Darshan, flash to get himself back to safety. Equalizer comes down at the last second. After not quite dead in the back line, they go looking for Moon, kicks him into the team. They're going to get the kill picked up, but it's a trade as they're going to lose Blitzcrank, but a kill back on his high goes down. Stixxay getting that one redemption to buy some time. Keeps Balls healthy enough. Here comes Darshan. Dardoch once again. Look for that. And it's going to be Balls flashing away, staying himself alive. So, +1 to CLG, trading their support for mid and jungle. Advantage red team.
Yeah, lose the Drake, win the fight, but also get a turret afterwards. So CLG's going to be really happy with this. And I think what they're going to be happier about is that they've regained at least equal footing in this game against Lucian that started the game 4-0 with a bunch of pressure on the mid lane turret. See if they don't get over-aggressive here as they take a bunch of poke.
Bit of poke on them. They want to maybe use the Mount Drake for something and use the 4v3 for a little longer, but will force the recall. Now, keep in mind, Baron is on the field, and CLG just took a very late recall. FlyQuest are available on the map right now.
Yeah, and watch this fight. There's just so much damage in the CLG team composition, and not that many people to take it, as Balls doesn't necessarily tank a Chaos Storm or an Equalizer. So you can see everyone on FlyQuest just really low, just because the fight happened with so much AoE, and that's sometimes the risk of running these kind of Lucian, Ashe, Zyra compositions where everyone's really squishy and it's just the Ivern that's trying to shield everyone up and keep them alive. So the more fights that CLG get like that, I think the higher their chances are to win the game. Whereas FlyQuest is just going to want to start with an Ashe arrow, blow someone up very quickly, get the siege set up on a turret, and force a ugly initiation in from CLG, but not the ones where they can pin you up against a wall in a river.
Ooh, Afro dodges the root attempt, but Not going to find anyone to kill just yet. And then we'll see if FlyQuest can get that Ash Arrow engaged fight, that opening. Ooh, he got an next power spike. The Lichbane is in. His single target burst went up a lot. The 10 CDR added from getting the Sheen as well. Getting closer and closer to insane power. Ruby Sightstone done for Moon. Of course, that gives you active item cooldown for the redemption and everything else. Now it's going to be a stun. They're going to find out on the balls. The Equalizer on the back line as well. Blocked out a bit by Locket. Rooted. More damage to the Chaos Storm. And High will block it, but it doesn't matter. The damage still comes through for the Blitzcrank. And there's the Lichbane. There's the damage out, but Elimination is gone. And it's going to be Daisy running away, getting a shield, but 2 for 0 advantage CLG. Almost no damage dealt to them at all.
Yeah, that's about as squishy as you can get. Huhi on Elimination right there. Huhi no health items. Elimination just the haunting guys and his Sightstone. But oh my goodness, you got to see the damage potential right there. And they were fine actually just going through the tank right at the start. Now they make a very aggressive play on a Baron. 2 dead. Still a Lucian, an Ashe, and an Ivern alive.
Well, he tries to zone them. Trap spine. 1-6 going to be found out. QSS jumps out. They pull in Moon. That'll be a kill. Quickly picked up. But they have picked up the Ashe already. Turtle is dead. Moon's going to be next. 2 for 0 High. One more shot. Killed off by Stixay. And that's going to be Baron picked up. Balls TP's into a losing situation, and he's not in range for any kills just yet. CLG going to let him get away with it. Oh! That was dangerously close. I guess it missed, but I thought I hit him.
Yeah, it did. I think the last 0.1 seconds of your recall, you'll still complete. So that was within the threshold, I suppose, of him
an empowered
back.
recall?
Yeah,
The day I learned.
So.
We will have a replay of that for sure.
Yeah, of recall and empowered recall. I think that's how it works.
We'll find out.
Someone
I thought it
who
was
actually
only
codes
damage
the
would
abilities
stop it. I
does it.
thought CC would.
Yeah, I think apparently it's all the same. I totally saw it hit.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I did
100%.
too.
Yeah. So everyone gets out scot-free.
All right.
We're
Time
gonna
for
watch.
analysis.
Gonna watch this. Stixay with the instant QSS, and you can just see like the Victor in Rumble is just way more damage than these guys can deal with, and neither of the ADs went with a Hex Drink or something. They're all trying to maximize their damage, and I think they're really paying the cost right here. And then, whoop,
Oh, it hit him.
it totally hit him.
Totally hit him.
I know at one point in time it was 0.5 seconds of immunity. It's changed around a few different times.
Yeah.
I know there was some heated discussion about this back in Worlds of 2014 with the
yeah.
Fnatic OMG base race game. So there's definitely been many clarifications on this. I just don't have them off the top of my head.
I'm pretty sure you're right about it being 0.1 seconds, though. I just didn't realize CC didn't break it. Or it's Empowered Recall special.
Maybe.
It might be special to Empowered Recall. Either way, we are on to the mid lane siege. CLG with the Baron buff and a 4,000 gold lead. And they've reset. Their items are here. And sieging is not too hard with the Mountain Drake. There's the flash hook. They found Moon. The Asher are not going to mean too much. The Locket buys time. So does everything else. And Moon stays alive. They got the kill and a Blitzcrank. It's a 1 for 0 advantage to FlyQuest. They couldn't kill off the Ivern in time he flashed away. Going to find another re-engage. They're going to pick up Huhi if they can. One more shot will do it. The flash forward with a shield for Dardock keeps him alive. And a big stun out of the gravity well. Stixay forced the kite back as well. And Dardock going to fall down. High gets it picked up. Falls 1 hit away from dead. The trades come in, but High stays alive. 2 kills for CLG, but it's 3. Maybe 1 more back as Darshan rejoins the fray. 2 alive for Chronologic Gaming, 2 alive for FlyQuest. But it's solo laners for CLG versus double support of FlyQuest means the push can continue as Darshan TV back in.
Watching the willingness to assume risk by both of these teams makes these games so fun.
Yes.
High flanking on the Lucian. Darshan channeling his TP in the middle of 4 people while his team was falling back, and then having both of those incredibly risky plays work. Just a crazy game we're involved in right now. Looks like CLG about to throw it away once again after taking control of the game.
And you think this would work. You pick off Moon, you're like, all right, this is the fight.
Yeah, they hook him, but he's still pretty hard to kill, and he redemptions immediately. And then they use their Chaos Storm and their Equalizer not onto High. So High is free to flank on the side of this fight here, and just one trap that Stixay is trying to keep him away with, trying to kind of keep him at bay. But then the fight starts turning because Wild Turtle's doing a bunch of damage off the back. But this teleport, I was thinking, Darshan, you're insane. There's 4 people there. But FlyQuest all kind of chase through, aren't there to instantly CC the Rumble when he comes in. And then he just
Kills everyone.
Spitters the whole team.
Yep. Well, there's no MR on the backline just yet. They've been relying on Locket Redemption, but no Hex Drinkers yet for either the Squishy Marksman, and it's just a heyday right now for Darshan, who's stacking the pen pretty nicely. Did go Merc Treads for defensive stats, but Void Staff Leandry's in. He's going to feel pretty good for this one. Cloud Drake picked up. CLG scaling to infinity.
And we're not getting Magic Resist. Apparently that's just not happening. We got a BF Sword by High. That's either going to GA or an Infinity Edge.
Yeah. Bloodthirster could, I guess, if you're like if he's like worried about dying, he's like, I'm just gonna get lifesteal and I won't die. Like I can see that being the right item.
Yeah.
Even though he has a Ruin King.
Yeah, I think Hex Drinker is just unquestionably the right item for a Lucian who's
I agree with you.
Who's going with the Black Cleaver, but we've lamented about this before, and many mid lane Lucians have opted otherwise. But even so, CLG no longer has Baron, but still has a whole bunch of damage and pick potential.
They do. 80% crit. Caitlyn with a Last Whisper and with a QSS. Going to be hard to kill Stixxay, but he is flashless. Arrow. Going to airball that one. 3 points for the field goal, but now it makes the siege a little bit easier. Minions are gone, though. Dardoch has to kite away. There comes the CC burn across, who he has to force the zone. Yes, now where's the equalizer? Right across the team. First kill comes through, though. Nice pick off, and Dardoch, again, has to kite away from this one. And now it's ulti's down. CLG going to make it much harder to siege. They kill off Daisy. What do you really want to do? FlyQuest can start regenerating back with his Ocean Drake, but
yeah.
Static Shift turning it off.
Such a good explosive cast with eyeballs right there to get who he had no flash. He did have zombies. They're going to
Body slam on a 3. Can he get the kill? Not just yet. The knockup is there for the CC. The damage not there. Back for it. A 1-for-1. Make it a 2-for-1. CLG in the back line. Darshan popping the zone. He's looking for a bit more damage. Dardoch going to land the Q on the Moon, but he is a tank. He's not going to die anytime soon. They've got to kite away. There's a Peacemaker made, and now Stixxay in a 1 versus 2 turtle. He's getting the headshot. He landed the net. A double kill, and Dardoch going to be a bro. Maybe tank for him. Not going to go for it just yet. Huge out of Stixxay right there to turn that fight around. 2v1 in the fight now as Stixxay can keep going, and that turret's gonna fall.
Man. The outplay right at the end. 90 caliber net into headshot onto Wild Turtle, not giving him a chance to survive. Stixxay's Caitlyn.
Real good.
2 and 11, pulling out clutch fights. 40 kills again in this game already.
40 kills in 30 minutes. I love League of Legends. I love shouting for teams fighting back and forth. Turret's gonna fall. CLG now have 2 open inhibitors to attack in the game that started out 4-1 in kills with a 4-0 Lucian. Looking better for him now.
Yeah, and this is a fight where Victor's already dead, so CLG incredibly risky to stay with this fight, but they do have the QSS on Stixxay. He holds for most of it. The hook is onto high, which allows them to finish him off, but then Darshan doesn't quite zone his with his Flame Splitter, so he doesn't get quite the damage off that he wants. And then snipes Lemon Nation, flashes back, auto net for
never in range.
Auto. Never once was Wild Turtle in range to get that kill. Totally kept at arm's length by Stixxay's Caitlyn.
Rapid fire cannon, and if you land the net, you have bonus range your next headshot. There is literally nothing Turtle could have done. He thought he was safe because Moon gave him a shield, and Dardoch was out of cooldowns. Not the case. Well played, Stixxay. Deserving of that kill, and unfortunate for Turtle, his aggressive tendencies this time bit him, even though it was good earlier on in this series. We'll see now what comes up as Baron is up in only 30 seconds, and CLG already have control boards here. Vision not great for FlyQuest. They can't see even the river right now. And you can see very smart controller placements there in spots where people would put wards over the wall and you can still clear them. The one in top of Scuttle I think is really important actually because it's so common to ward over that wall you're seeing in the middle of your screen. And that can't happen now.
Still a well-placed explosive cast by Balls. If he can somehow get Stixxay and Huhi, it's a bunch of COD's damage right off there. And if High and Wild Turtle can avoid just the massive amounts of AoE that get layered at the start of the fights, they'd still have a chance to have the powerful sustained damage throughout this, but you definitely have to favor CLG at this stage of the game. They had that early game deficit. They've grown to a 7,000 gold lead, but they just keep taking these incredibly dangerous fights, which is making us think the game is really close.
Yep.
I feel like if we get a normal fight, CLG should smash them with the gold lead and the damage they put together.
You'd think, but you've got to see. Double static shift for FlyQuest means wave clear and some burst at the start of the fights. Knight's Vow on toward High, courtesy of Moon. Going to give him some more tanky stats. You were right, Chad. It was Infinity Edge for him. So huge damage available, just a little bit squishier as a champion. Poke coming through for who he can't find anything just yet. Look at the easy wave clear by FlyQuest. They've got control over mid. Skills you want in. Shield blocks most of the damage toward balls. It was a big crit otherwise from the Caitlyn.
Yeah, and it's such an explosive moment because while we mention how COD have a bunch of damage,
We're going to try Baron.
FlyQuest has a bunch of damage too, and COD doesn't have anyone who can tank it. So it's all about who can get that initiation and kill the big damage threat first. Every time a hook is down, that's a lot of threat loss for COG.
They're going to look for the play. Moon could go for the steal. He's going to try it. He's going to get it. Moon takes the Baron, flashes back out. The fight continues. Dardoch goes to front line. Can't kick forward, though. Dardoch is going to die for this one. One more shot and Balls picks it up. Good cutting back by High to get away with it, and that was a huge play. And now can CLG even get out? It's a 5v4. Their health bars are low. And look at the long con. High is on the backhand side. CLG grouped up. They have some ults. Can they find this? Daisy in the front line looking for the play. Big damage coming across, still fighting back. They have Equalizer, they have Chaos Storm. They have everything else. CLG going to keep riding with the minion wave. Dardoch still 30 seconds away from respawning.
Yeah, and it's a marathon right now, Freak. How much does FlyQuest want to cut them out, but how much do they have to respect the burst from someone on CLG? They're actually kind of spreading out now. I mean, CLG push. Wild Turtle's going to push mid.
And CLG going to try to join him through the mid lane. They're actually no longer cut off. They're away from the Ivern. They're away from everyone else. They're going to be safe on this one a little bit if they can keep moving.
Ash Arrow's up in 5 or 10 seconds. Now Turtle's flanking
Explosive cast from Stixxay. He's got no flash. He's got no way out. The shutdown goes to high. They don't get the trade on a Wild Turtle. He's running away. Who he wants in on this one, though. But there's too much haste. He's getting away. Arrow's got him. QSS. He's still out of range. Q's for the move speed. 2 more shots will kill off Huhi. The shot comes through. Brutal Lasonias. And he's going to die. He actually gets the trade. The fight, though, is still won. FlyQuest go 3-1 in that fight. It's a 4v2 on the map, and Darshan can't win it by himself. There's 2 minutes of Baron buff left. This could be what FlyQuest needs.
Oh, and they're going to take so much right here as well. They have 4 people, the super tanking balls in the front, and still an 80 carry from their mid laner High. No minion wave ability to clear from CLG. They might try and win. That's why Equalizer goes down to try and get rid of the minions.
The question is how much they can get. 1 melee minion, 1 cannon minion survives right now. Inhibitor falls, respawns short enough that FlyQuest will back out, but now it's a 1,300 gold game. There's a Cloud Drake to take on the backhand side, and we're back to tied here.
And this Root Caller, Dardoch smites at 1150, Moon smites after. Smite does 1,000 for a level 18 player, so around 900 for Dardoch. Too early. Doesn't have any Q execute timed with his smite either. Costs him big.
Rough stuff for them as the Drake does go over now to FlyQuest, and as the map resets, CLG going to reset the waves. Looks like pretty much the entire map actually a bit at equilibrium. Baron buff, only 1 minute left on this one, so not a lot FlyQuest going to get out of that. And we see Steric's Gauge as the final item out of High here, so it is tanky. It does make him durable against the Caitlyn, who to be fair is a big threat herself, but it is not that MR stack.
Yeah, and it also, you gain a 75% of your bonus health that'll decay over 3 seconds. So the only bonus health he's working with is the Steric's Gauge plus 400 and the Black Cleaver plus 400.
And Seals, which is 176, 216 for
Right.
scaling health Seals.
For all the scaling health seals he's going to be having. But still no magic resist, so Huhi has that threat. But I mean, Huhi actually hasn't continued to scale at the same pace of this game. He's dying early on in those fights, so only just getting the 1 kill, whereas many people are getting more. So there's a Steric's on High, a Hex Drinker on Wild Turtle. That one-shot potential isn't the same as it maybe once was. And it's anyone's game once again. I feel like CLG has not played well with their leads. They've played well with deficits.
Yeah.
So it's created.
They got him right where they want him, Jet. CLG got FlyQuest right where they want him. Likely not to be the case right here. Full builds coming through. Hexdrinker does come in for Wild Turtle. Thank you for getting the lifeline that is very efficient against a Victor and a Rumble. And we'll see what comes in next. Here comes the attempt at a siege, just maybe once again. Dardoch finds a Q over the wall. Doesn't want to push in balls, though. Tanks are not ones you want to deliver to your team. 2,500. CLG is actually ahead in goal, but they are the ones being sieged. Baron buff has timed out by now. The Caitlyn trap line is here. We saw how good FlyQuest did with all those traps in front of their base that prevented CLG from winning. Now it's counter-electric gaming with the Caitlyn. Maybe it gets a bit better.
And I actually want to see a second Knights of Vow. I would have loved to see that out of Balls. If that's what he ends up doing with his Crystalline Blazer, thrown on a Wild Turtle. Try and keep them as safe as possible through this burst.
Pretty much that or a Warmog. I mean, there are other options that build into it, but Warmog's a great sieging it if you want to tank up attacks. We'll see. Right now, they're kind of going back and forth. Already has the Frozen Heart going towards the Randuins as well, just to deal with Caitlyn a bit better. I think that's fine. Makes sense. It's efficient against that champion. 80% crit chance and all that. Full build completed now for Stixxay. 1 slot left for Huhi plus a maybe Majai's upgrade. Room to go on some of these players. We'll see as we just wait to keep pushing forward. A decent power play, of course, out of FlyQuest. A Baron steal at that. Brought the game so much more close. So much closer.
Yeah, and we wonder how it's going to break open again, right? Ash Arrow by Wild Turtle potentially. Dardoch would then be the main initiation for CLG, or the Blitzcrank Cook is always that great equalizer, but it's a Ruby Sightstone by Moon. It's a fully upgraded Sightstone by Elimination, and there's still control ward spots for 2 people. So without vision control, it's much harder to land a hook.
Yeah.
to start a
Oh,
fight.
the flash, he baited it. That was nice by Moon. I think he saw it coming. He was on point for that one. Elimination walks forward, looks for the root, not going to find too much for it. The siege continues with plants up in the mix, so Lemon has to kite back to not take aggro, but the turret is down about half health right now, and Aframu is now without a flash. That was a nice little play right there. Moon knew what was coming. I think that was really on purpose, and he played it really nicely.
And they can reset now, with Baron being in a minute. Elder Drake a few more minutes past that.
Yeah.
We really want to they need to find a way to channel some of this farm onto Wild Turtle. Is the biggest issue with FlyQuest right now, because he is so far behind the item curve. He's
5,000 gold under high.
Yeah, and 4,000 gold under Stixxay as well. So he's not the same level of influence in this game. So it's basically right now, if High gets picked off, FlyQuest probably loses, but if they can get that secondary carry really online.
And you saw a little glimpse of that. High still has XP to gain, so there's reason to farm, but like he took Wolves out, for example. When he's got 2,000 gold in inventory and nothing much else to buy, he sold Sterix for a Maw. I'm glad someone told him the MR may be a bit more valuable in this one. Also, since Lucian's AD ratios are... Oh, hold on, stun. Wheel to go for this one. Culling is there, a lot of damage, half HP, rooted again. Hook in, they're gonna find the tank, and look at the damage up with their Ball stays alive, though Redemption buys a bit more. Oh, that's a big siege, a lot of damage. Snipe gonna be tanked by elimination. He'll stay alive on this one. But now it's low health bars on FlyQuest, 3 of them below half HP running away.
Yeah, Balls doesn't manage to stone plate for any damage reduction during that play, and Baron is up. So the Gragas does regen quickly, does have teleport. Both top laners may end up teleporting back into this play, but CLG, knowing them, is gonna really pressure this Baron hard.
See what they can get on this one. Fight back and forth, Balls home, running back in, looks for Dardoch, not gonna find it. Nice safeguard to keep him safe. We'll see as he can once again look forward after me, level 14, no flash, still more than half the cooldown remaining.
Yeah, without getting a kill and with both top laners resetting with teleport, actually CLG is at a disadvantage right here because Darshan had already used Equalizer. Ball still has his and his flash.
They're not willing to give up mid lane control because they don't want to give away a Baron rush. Hook's not going to land. A stun is there on the frontliner. Goodbye to Aframu. It's now a 5v4 and Balls flashes away. Stixxay nearly goes down to High. Redemption to reset it. Look at that one shot. They took down elimination. Both supports are dead. Hui back in on a High. And the mob of Mortius going to keep alive until Stixxay gets a snipe. The kickback is there. Wild Turtle next up on the chopping block. And it's 3-for-1 advantage CLG. They can close the game out of this one. You have to believe. 41 minutes in. Moon going to get shut down. Stixxay on a killing spree. 29 and 21 in kills, 50 slain so far, and this is the mid lane is going to be the target, and Hui going to make sure that Balls can't be there to defend. 40 seconds now on the respawns.
Yeah, and just an explosive series and explosive game can end in such an explosive way right here. Stixxay gets all the headshots down the stretch, the snipe on elimination on the side, then the re-engage by Dardoch in the chaos. Ball's gonna do everything he can, but I don't think he can stop.
Going for the minion wave to buy some time, but it's 8 seconds until even elimination's back alive, and there's the kill picked up. Here comes the minion wave, and there is nothing left to stop them. Counter Logic Gaming threw away a giant lead in game 2, but they get their own comeback in game 3 and close out the series, continue their drive toward first place.
And that was definitely not the type of series CLG wanted to play. You can see the exasperated look on Stixxay's face right now.
Yeah.
Because they pretty much feel like they should have won this after game 2. And then they very nearly got caught up in that FlyQuest hype and chaos to lose these games. I mean, game 2, crazy comeback. Wild Turtles Caitlyn goes off in the late game. Game 3, High's Lucian goes off in the early game, and everything is looking up for FlyQuest. But then as the game swings back and forth once again, the final swing ends in the favor of CLG, and they take it serious.
Well, very well done to them. The Double Marksman comp didn't quite close the game out. It was certainly close, and as you can see, CLG high five and shake hands with their fans, smiles back on their faces because they know this is who they're playing for. This is what makes it all worth it. Shout out to the fans showing up to support their favorite teams and players, and the morose looks out of High and the rest of FlyQuest continue. This certainly was a series within their grasp, and unfortunately it slipped out of their fingers. But a good team effort out of CLG, honestly. Some good, really good kicks out of Dardoch on your screen right now, but even as far as damage is concerned, the Rumble, Huhi's Victor, and especially Stixxay is Caitlyn, the top 3 damage in the game, actually, all 3 of them more than High or Wild Turtle. So big damage out of the team, and the no tank comp worked out.
Yeah, and a lot of high pressure situations, you can still see Stixxay noticeably exhaling the anxiety from that game and trying to get rid of it, because really they were winning probably from 20 minutes all the way until the end of the game, and they just kept taking the riskiest fights. I mean, by no means was this a display of exactly how you'd want to play League of Legends by CLG, because they could have had opportunities to close these games out cleanly. 21 deaths in a win for CLG, 31 kills in this win. Just an insanely kill and death heavy set. So a lot of high pressure practice if that's what they're looking for. You know, they moved to 4-1. FlyQuest is disappointed that they're now moving to 1-4, but life goes on.
Life goes on. It's a long split. There's still 18 matches to play overall. They're 5 down with 13 to go. You know, if FlyQuest pulls a miracle and they go back to being like 14-4, that's a great record. If you can turn it all around, right? If you can find a way to turn it all around, this is very much a salvageable split. We're still in the middle of week 3. There was a lot of leagues still to play. FlyQuest were a 4th place finisher last split. Like, there's a realistic chance that they just, they find it themselves, they get the turnaround, they figure out what they're doing, and that run to Worlds can still happen. I mean, you've seen teams played by High, with High on the roster, where they get 7th in the final split, and they still go to Worlds, right? Like, this is a possibility. Just getting what you need by the end of it all. Again, there is time to go still. You saw that these players are friends. Moon and Dardock had a quick chat you saw on screen after the game ended. It's always nice seeing the cross-team friendships as well. These guys hanging out together. And yeah, I think there's still much more to play. And it was kind of a heartening game in a certain sense by FlyQuest.
Exactly. They played it close. CLG, people keep talking up them because of the 4-1 start and how they probably can compete for the #1 spot this split with the confidence and the way they're kind of recommitted to the game and the championship pedigree that the franchise and the players have. Then FlyQuest walks in and, you know, comes back from 10 or 15,000 gold down and then fights from another deficit in game 3 to not quite close it out. So, I mean, this was a great series to watch.
Yeah, and honestly, even their losses are to good teams. Their losses are to Immortals, Team Dignitas, Echo Fox, and CLG are all teams with winning records right now. This has been a really hard schedule for FlyQuest, and if they can keep their spirits up, I think they can get some wins down the stretch. We'll see if that happens. But now, to hear more about that series, let's send it down to Zyrene, who's standing by with the victorious jungler.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Yes, I'm here with Dardock from CounterLogic Gaming. And first off, I want to ask you, that series, you guys lost game 2 from a comeback from FlyQuest, and then game 3, it really started off in kind of the worst way possible. Lucian gets 4-0, and then the Baron gets stolen from you. And I've seen some features from back when you were on TL, etc., where you haven't been able to sometimes keep your focus in a game when it's going off the rails. So how has being on CounterLogic Gaming changed that for you, and what do you attribute as, you know, the biggest thing for you, the change for your mentality?
I guess the main thing is like, I guess when I lose focus when I'm behind, it's because I'm focusing on the things that went wrong. But it was a habit that was, I guess, forced out of me, where it's all just, in every post game, if I'm talking about stuff that went wrong or like how we could have done it better in game, everybody, like, as soon as we get into post game, it's like, Josh, like, you can't do that shit. I was like, all right, my bad, bro. Like, but yeah, we just have like, Zach is a really good leader, and he's always consistently talking about what we need to do to win, and he doesn't let me, I guess, like, get caught up on the things that go wrong, because everybody's still trying to win.
All right, awesome. Seems like, you know, that's been working out for you so far. And I want to ask you, because I was watching an interview where your CounterLogic Gaming teammates were saying, you know, Dardock, when he first came on, man, we had no idea that junglers could even do these types of things, right? He's pulling off Lee Sin plays left and right, and they were very surprised by your performance. So I want to ask you, who have you been surprised by the most on CounterLogic Gaming? Who's been the pleasant surprise on the squad?
I guess Huhi, just because I guess the overlaying, I guess, enigma that he has is that he's like a soul one trick. Like, he's not very good at everything else, but he's nuts, dude. AJ's just, he's sick.
Nice. And then, so final question here for you. Phoenix 1 is going to be your opponents tomorrow, and they're actually running a new jungler in Mike Young, who started today. What are your thoughts on Mike Young? Have you run into him before? And what are your thoughts on that matchup against him?
Yeah, I've been looking at a couple of his solo queue accounts that I know of, and he just seems like a Lee Sin one trick. So, I mean, I can relate, but I'm ready for anybody. We're not particularly scared or anything, you know.
All right, well, congratulations on the win against FlyQuest, and thank you very much for the interview, Dardock. Now we're going to throw it over to the guys there at the desk to close that one out.
Thank you very much, Zyrian. I like the self-awareness there, that at one point Dardoch was very much a one trick, but look at the player that he's developed into, right? And how he's found a home here on CLG. It really seems to be starting to gel with the squad. Now, today's series definitely not the cleanest as a CLG fan, and I don't believe that this series necessarily inspires confidence for either team in the way that it was played. But ultimately, both teams get a comeback victory, and CLG is the one that ends up with 2.
Yeah, and I think if you're CLG, you're saying, why did we end up playing 50 more minutes of League of Legends today? We could have been home. Both these drafts, I kind of like both of them. On the side of FlyQuest, you have a little bit more engage and utility available for your double AD carry comp, and on the flip side, for CLG, you have a lot of backline long-range damage threats, and as long as you don't get Gragas insect, you're probably pretty safe to play out these team fights. So 2 different ideas. The execution is on FlyQuest, though.
Now, the Victors come back, and I think that just some people may not be aware of necessarily why it's made its return to the meta. Do you mind hitting that just real quick?
Sure. I mean, a lot of the previously in Spring Split had a couple bad matchups, and with the rise of Lucian, it's one of the better mid laners for dealing with that. Just early on, your trades are not as bad as it is for a lot of other mid laners, and then once you get your Hex Core upgrade, you kind of just shove the lane out and try to ignore the fact that you're against this AD carry. And then, like we said, the other counter picks are not nearly as bad anymore. You'll still mostly see it in response to already seeing the other pick. Most people are not willing to blind it yet, but it's gotten to the point. It was never like that awful.
Right.
It always
we did even still see it played once or twice in spring, but it was definitely further down the list.
Right. Its laning phase got hit a lot to the point where people didn't really want to pick it up anymore. Rylai's was always super good on it. That item had got changed as well. So there were a number of factors at play, but its late game has always been crazy. It still is, and you got to see that a little bit this game.
Either way, a little good bit of insight there. Let's dive into the game itself. Let's try and parse through this, because again, just like game 2, this one was very crazy, back and forth at different times. FlyQuest getting out to the early lead this time around in a 3-for-0 coming 7 minutes into the game. Red side jungle, let's check it out.
As a CLG fan, you're getting a little bit concerned because you had smashed the early game the first 2 times around. This time, FlyQuest off some annoying Ivern invades, kind of forces CLG's hand in trying to combat this. Balls moves down early, Afro's on the roam, and after that hook misses, he's kind of caught in no man's land with Huhi. They start getting culled out. High is able to get the early kill here, and then CLG gets into a little bit of that. They don't want to give it up for free. This is one of the things that people have always criticized Dardoch for, is his unwillingness to just kind of give up a play. And here you see, after getting chunked out, they still want to go. Lemonation flashes in, that kind of baits the potential turn, and it ends up with this crazy kind of 4-for-4 just over Wraith camps of all things. It's not the most important thing to battle over.
Absolutely. So yeah, exactly. A strange development in the early game that gives FlyQuest the lead, but once again, CLG is able to mount the comeback on the back end, or on the backs of a Caitlyn and a Victor who go ultra big in the late game. Let's take a look at the game-winning team fight here as we see the damage come out.
And the big thing, like we talked about, is the insect from the Gragas. He goes to go for the Blitzcrank, who already used his hook. That's about all his team fight contribution there. And so you want to insta-give somebody, but in the meantime, he's running wild, already deletes the Zyra. 6A untouched as well. Those 2 combo again for the kill onto High. And now the team fight's mostly over with 2 of your main carry threats down. And this was kind of the problem with the Gragas pick, is if it's not knocking in one of the 2 main damage dealers, you're probably going to lose that team fight.
Yeah, player of the game going to go to Stixay. Pretty big numbers from him. KDA, I think, involved in 25 of the 31 kills for the team. So that's pretty nuts in such a high-kill game. The 12... we'll get it in a second. I believe it was 12, it was like 12, 5, and 13 or something like that. So pretty nuts out of him, but this is what we expect out of Stixay. We have to remember this, that ever since he came into his own back at MSI last year, when we were seeing the plays on the Lucians and the Caitlyn's in particular, this is his home. He is a true carry for this team.
And it's kind of been the case where his story kind of mirrored Afro's when they were forced onto the complete utility-based range champions that everyone was now playing as meta after they kind of pioneered it for the world at MSI. They didn't look quite as dominant. They obviously had a strong laning phase, but they were prone to random 2v2 deaths. And now that Afro's back kind of on the playmaking support, you saw a couple times there in laning phase, able to hook the Zyra under turret, get a couple kills for themselves, and then come late game, he's still an absolute monster in team fighting, hardly ever getting caught out of position. And for how scrappy this game was, only dying 3 times is not too bad.
Let's look ahead just briefly here. Tomorrow, CLG's up against Phoenix 1. So again, a struggling Phoenix 1 who's playing right now currently over on NALCS 2 against Dignitas heading into Game 3. So if you're interested, head over there. But for now, again, this idea that, well, a 1-3 FlyQuest gave CLG some trouble. I think for them, really, it's just about showing up tomorrow and making it clean, getting back to that state of we can control a game from start to finish.
I think it was the kind of case where they had 2 great early games. They got lax at the end of Game 2, and then they throw the game, they get a little uptight, they get a little upset at themselves, and you're no longer playing completely calm. This game doesn't start well either, so after that 3-0, maybe you're a little just kind of upset at yourself, and, and you're not thinking 100% clearly, and obviously they're able to come back. They proved that they're the better team over FlyQuest, but not nearly what you're hoping for as a CLG fan. Flip side, FlyQuest, as a fan, maybe you're kind of happy because I think a lot of people would argue, I would argue, CLG is the best team in the league right now. So putting up a good fight against them is nice, but at the end of the day, you got to start picking up some W's.
Well, and that's the thing. Tomorrow they go up against C9, FlyQuest that is. Both teams suffering losses today in 3-game series. So how do you look at that matchup tomorrow? Obviously, I think most people would still consider C9 to be the favorites coming in.
I think I would say that as well. The problem is just C9 is such a tough opponent because if you're not snowballing in the early game, even though they're not as creative as they probably should be, come mid-game, they're still going to get a lot of team fights off against you, and we've seen that FlyQuest does struggle with those a little bit. The only time that they were really definitively winning team fights was at the end of the Game 2 series when they had much better late-game champions. So you could kind of see that if FlyQuest doesn't have, the Ori Caitlyn on their side where they clearly win late-game team fights, sometimes they start stalling out.
A tease for a couple of the matches that we have tomorrow, but as was mentioned, we have one more series still going over on NALCS 2. That's Phoenix 1 and Dignitas locked at 1-1. Enjoy, guys.
Situation where